Barristan was born in the kingdom of Christine. He only has faint memories of his father and mother. When he was 4, his father's body was found after an apparent suicide, and his mother had skipped town shortly afterwards. Fortunately, Barristan was taken in by a local orphanage, run by a loving old couple named Mr. and Mrs. Genus. He was the 5th oldest out of 7 children there. As a child, Barristan loved his wooden sword and took joy in play fighting with his siblings, not knowing that actual fighting and killing was happening just outside his home. You see, the Kingdom of Christine was known for its brutal policing and the draconian punishments it inflicted on anyone suspected of heresy. Regular patrols of hunters, elite soldiers specialized in inquisition and rooting out heresy, stalked the streets. Their shadows loomed long over every inch of the Kingdom of Christine. Barristan could not remain sheltered from this oppressive regime for long, no matter how hard he tried. The Genuses would always tell the kids that no matter what happened, they loved them and wanted them to live. That life was hard, but it was worth living. One by one, as they reached the working age of 8, his siblings were taken from their home and put to work by the kingdom. He learned that they were forced into lifelong menial labor, and some of them were taken far away. As a result, Barristan encouraged his little sister, the youngest of the bunch, to run away from home and try to find a better life. She wanted so bad to stay with the rest of them and stand with her family, but he finally convinced her. She ran away, and he has not heard from her since. Before he knew it, he was 8. After an invasive and dehumanizing examination, he was drafted into the militia. Years of training left him jaded and cynical, but thanks to his natural strength and intellect, he outlasted most of the other militia. 10 years later, his knack for survival and combat earned him an unwanted promotion to become a hunter. As a hunter, his training became harder and the tasks given to him became more unsavory. His only refuge from his work was the massive library the hunters had access to. He enjoyed tales of faraway lands and even dabbled in magical tomes and spellbooks, picking up a handful of spells along the way. He would have descended further on the hunter path if not for one particular mission that had been assigned to him. He was to purge a house of cultists. They were performing a ritual to some dark entity and had to be stopped. When he arrived onto the scene, he found that the so-called cultists were a band of 7 small children. There was a strange symbol on the floor, and that was evidence enough. He drew his sword and began to cut them down one by one with ruthless hunter efficiency. The blood-curdling screams were accented by their bloodied bodies slumping to the floor. One of them had managed to run to a window and was trying to fumble through it when Barristan summoned a magical, ghostly, and skeletal hand, which promptly grabbed the child by the neck and wrung the life out of him. Soon, there was only one left. He cornered the little girl and raised his sword. She glared at him with tears running down her face and a look of pure contempt. For some reason, this gave him pause.
Do it, Hunter! They're all dead! I don't have a reason to live anymore!
He looked at the girl for the first time. Everything about her reminded him about his youngest sister. He turned and looked about the room. Children's limbs and torsos scattered about like rice at a wedding. Their dead eyes were staring at him. Memories of his long-forgotten childhood and his many siblings flooded back from the recesses of his mind. Then, a sharp pain in his thigh. He instinctively spun and swung his sword. He chopped halfway through the girl's torso. Without a sound, she fell. He pulled her dagger out of his thigh and turned it in his hand for a long time. After the incident, he tendered his resignation as a hunter and began to wander the lands. He threw his sword away and instead obtained a magical warhammer. Barristan is not sure what his purpose is anymore, but he's desperate to atone and leave his haunted past behind.